Have you ever felt like writing code is, well, just giving orders? Today, we're going to totally flip that idea on its head. We're going to learn how to stop just commanding our programs and actually start having a real conversation with them. I mean, let's be real, right? Sometimes coding feels like you're just shouting into the void. You type a command, you hit enter, and that's kind of it. It's a one-way street where you're doing all the talking. Think of it like this. A lot of basic code acts like a polite but kind of distant waiter. You give an order, it brings you the result, and poof, the interaction is over. But what if we could teach that waiter to hang out and chat for a bit? And that is our goal for this first section. We're going to learn the secret to transforming our code from that silent waiter into an interactive friend that can actually talk back to us. So the key difference here is moving from a monologue to a dialogue. The print function, that's our waiter, it just delivers a message and walks away. But the real magic happens with the input function. That's our friend. It completely turns the conversation around and allows the program to stop and ask us a question. And really, that's what it all comes down to. This one simple function, input, is what breathes life into our code. It's the tool that makes our programs feel responsive and, alive. So, to have a good conversation, we need to speak the same language. In this section, we'll cover the basic vocabulary and grammar our code needs to chat with us effectively. First up is string concatenation. Okay, it sounds a little technical, but all it really means is joining pieces of text, or strings, as we call them in Python, together. And we do it with a simple plus sign. It's just like adding numbers, but for words. Let's look at an example here. The code combines Pune and warriors. But you gotta notice that crucial empty space we added right in between them. That's because Python is super literal. If you don't tell it to add a space, the output's gonna be Pune warriors all smashed together. You are in complete control. Okay, now let's bring our interactive input function back into the mix. So here, the code asks a question and then it just pauses. It's waiting for an answer. I typed in Mumbai, and bam, the program immediately used my response to continue the conversation. And hey, see that little N in the code? That's just a neat little trick that tells Python to start a new line. It keeps everything looking clean and readable. All right, our next conversational tool is the len function. It's incredibly simple, but so useful. It basically gives our code the ability to understand a property of the text we give it, specifically how many characters are in a string. And this is where things get really efficient. We can actually nest functions inside each other. Right here, we've tucked the input function right inside len. So in a single line, the program asks for my name, it waits for my input, Nike, counts the characters, and prints out the number 4. That is incredibly powerful and compact. All right, we've got the tools. Now let's put our new skills to the test with a classic logic puzzle that pretty much every programmer faces early on. This is a fantastic way to really start thinking like a coder. So here's the challenge. Imagine you've got two variables, A and B. Your mission is to swap their values. But here's the trick. You can't just write A equals B, because if you do that, the original value of A gets totally overwritten and it's lost forever. So how do you solve it? The solution is actually surprisingly elegant, and this analogy makes it perfectly clear. Right? How would you swap the drinks into full glasses? You need a third empty glass. You pour the first drink into the empty glass, which frees it up. Then you pour the second drink into the now empty first glass. Finally, you pour from your temporary glass into the second glass. Simple and effective. And in our code, we do the exact same thing. We create a temporary variable, let's just call it C, which acts as our empty glass. First, we store the original value of A safely in C. Now that A is free, we can dump the value of B into it. And for the final step, we take that original value from C and put it into B. Problem solved. All right, it is time for our final quest. We're going to combine all the tools we've just learned, input, string concatenation, and variables, to build a small but genuinely useful application. So here's our mission. Build a physics formula helper. It's going to welcome the user, ask for a formula and a scientist, and then create a fun little fact. And as a final touch, it'll even count the characters in the formula. This challenge is going to use every single skill we've covered so far. And would you look at that? Here's the final result. The complete code on the left creates the full conversation you see on the right. It asks for the formula, the scientist, and just puts it all together. Now look closely at the code. To print that final line, we had to use string to turn the number of characters into text so we could join it with the rest of the sentence. It's a small but super vital step, and with that, you can build this entire app right now. Fantastic. Before we wrap things up, let's cover one last crucial topic: building good habits right from the start. Trust me, this simple pro tip is going to save you countless headaches on your coding journey. It's all about the art of naming your variables. The number one rule is to be clear, not clever. By following a few simple best practices, like using all lowercase and separating words with an underscore, you make your code incredibly easy for your future self and for others to read and understand. I mean, this table just makes the difference crystal clear. A name like initial velocity tells you exactly what that variable does. But V or FM? That's a total mystery. Following these simple rules, like making sure you don't start names with numbers, will immediately make your code so much better and easier to work with. What this all means is that you've really made a huge leap today. You've leveled up from being a code commander who just gives orders to a code conversationalist who can actually build interactive experiences. That's a massive step forward. And that brings us to our final thought. Now that you know how to make your code ask questions, listen to answers, and talk back, what conversation are you going to start?